we go in and we change our goals. We change what we want to do and what we want the end state to be, which is awesome. But we don't ever change our day-to-day actions. Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a Chief Information Security Officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome to this week's edition of Life of a CISO with yours truly, Dr. Eric Cole, where we focus on what you need to do to become a world-class CISO. If you want to be average, if you want to be okay, if you just want to make a salary, disconnect, right? We're not going to sync up, right? We're not going to get along very, very well, right? I'm all about world-class. I'm all about pushing the limit, taking it to the next level, being that unicorn that everybody wants. So if that excites you, if that's what you're all about, if you want to be the world-renowned, world-class Chief Information Security Officer, we're going to get along just fine and keep on listening. So welcome. If you haven't picked up your book, Cyber Crisis, yet, what are you waiting for, right? This is basically, and this isn't from me, right? This is from an executive I just talked to. He goes, Eric, Cyber Crisis reveals the secrets of how to communicate with executives and get executives to understand cybersecurity. It wasn't my original intent, to be honest with you, right? I'll take credit for it, right? But my goal when I wrote Cyber Crisis was really a resource for executives. It actually wasn't written directly for security people, security folks, or others because they understand what's in there. So my initial goal was there needed to be a book that was easy to read, easy to understand, written in business language. So a CEO, COO, CFO, director, board member could pick it up and reading 20, 30 minutes a day over a week could absorb, read the entire book and understand cybersecurity and ask the correct questions. And it has achieved that goal. But a secondary goal that I didn't even think of, which I wish I did because it's brilliant. The secondary goal is a playbook for CISOs and people that want to be CISOs, showing them the level to speak to executives, showing them what information executives want. I was talking to one CISO who I was taking on as a client, and he read the book. He goes, Eric, I didn't really like the book. It wasn't technical enough. It didn't go into technical details. It didn't give me all the technical solutions. I'm like, I'm like, we're aligned. I said that what you got out of it was my goal, right? That was not my intent, right? The intent was for you to understand the level. He's like, but Eric, that's not deep enough. I would never stay that high level when I talk to an executive. I would always need to go a lot deeper and a lot more technical. And then I sort of smirked and was like, how's that working out for you? And it was sort of funny because he's like, yeah. He goes, nobody listens to me. Nobody invites me back to meetings. I feel like I'm really ineffective. And I'm like, okay, wait for it. Do I need to give you the answer or are you going to conclude here? And then he's finally like, oh, maybe I'm not at the right level. Exactly. Right. And that's what Cyber Crisis is all about. So whether you worked in security for 20 years, if you want to communicate with executives, you want to be a world-class CISO or you're currently a world-class CISO and want to take it to the next level. Another CISO who's been a CISO for 12 years, he goes, Eric, I read your book. A lot of the stuff I sort of knew, he goes, but it was your stories and analogies that were brilliant. He goes, that's how you connect with executives. He goes, I went in and used a couple of those stories and it was a completely different conversation. The executives put their cell phones down. They paid attention. They listened to what I was saying. So that's what it's all about. So if you haven't picked up a copy of Cyber Crisis for yourself, if you haven't picked up a copy for your executives, what are you waiting for? If you or your executives love it and you'd like to have me come in and talk to your executive team, help you out with alignment or do a keynote, we're doing live keynotes again or virtual still. We got this great studio. Love to help you out. Just reach out to me or my team, either info@secure-anchor.com or ecole@secure-anchor.com. I'd love to hear from you and love to see how we can help you out. What I'd like to do in this episode of Life of a CISO is just check in with you. We're in mid-October, right? We've entered the fourth quarter of 2021, right? Depending on when you're listening to this, right? 2 or 3 months left in the year. And the question is, where are you at? Where are you at with accomplishing your goals, your purpose, your mission, your vision? If we go back to January or even February of 2021, and we talked about what you want to accomplish, where you want to be, how you doing? Are you in the same place that you were? Are you exactly where you need to be? Are you a little behind or are you a little ahead? Just want to check in because there's still time to realign. There's still time to get back on track. What I find with most people, and I do this too, right? We all fall victim of this, is we go in and we have these great goals, great purpose, great things we want to achieve. And then we wake up 6-9 months later and we're in a very similar spot. Because if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting the same results. And there's a ton of varieties of that phrase, but you get the point. Is the problem is we go in and we change our goals. We change what we want to do and what we want the end state to be, which is awesome. But we don't ever change our day-to-day actions. We don't ever change how we show up each day and what we do and how we spend our time. And that, to me, is the best way to describe the New Year's resolution dilemma, the failed goals, the missed objectives, people that are down or depressed. It's because they're changing the target, but they're changing nothing else. Right? That would be like going in and you're throwing darts at a dartboard. Right? And then you blindfold yourself. Now, most of us, if you've done it for a while and you blindfold, you can still probably get pretty close to that target. But what if you now move the target, but you don't take the blindfold off, and now you keep throwing darts the exact same way? You're going to be hitting the old target. You're not going to be hitting the new target. So to me, what I find is, and take a lot of these motivational courses, books, I love constantly filling the mind with positive things, but I find all of them are focused on the end state, but nobody focuses on the today state. So what changes right now today are you going to start making? What are the things you're going to start doing differently to be able to end the year differently than you started it? Because yes, you could say, well, what happened the last 9 months? No. It was what it was, right? You still did good things. It's not a waste. Don't get mad or upset at yourself. Don't look at the past. Look at today. There's still 2 to 3 months left. What are you going to start doing differently? And some of the things I encourage you to start doing. First, once again, I'm a morning person. I always love when I talk to people that go, Eric, I'm not a morning person. When did you make that decision? Right? That's not factual based, right? That just is, if you stay up till 1 a.m. watching Netflix and you try to get up at 5 a.m, you're not going to be a morning person, right? That's not that you're not a morning person. It's that your habits are not aligned with getting up early. Completely different things. You can change those habits. You could go to bed at 9 or 9:30, and you could get up at 4:35. Now, once again, decision you need to make. Right? If your goals and mission and purpose are that important to you, why not make a change? Now, there's nothing wrong with, I'm going after exercise here, just in case you didn't catch it. But there's nothing wrong with exercising in the evening. I find, though, getting up at about 5, spending 15, 20 minutes setting my intentions for the day of what I want to accomplish, because I'm a big fan of how you start your day is how you finish it. If you start off and you wake up and you get into a fight with somebody and you start kicking the dogs and the cat, by the way, I am not going in and promoting animal abuse. You shouldn't do that, right? But you go in and you get yourself in a bad mood, right? You're probably not going to have a good day, right? It's probably going to end the way it started. So I'm a big fan of getting up and just getting real focused and aligned, setting the intentions, a little gratitude, just getting in a really good state, and then going to the gym. Just want to take a quick break. I hope you're enjoying the show. I have this free webinar that I would love for you to check out if you want to become a world-class CISO. I'm a big fan of exercising. Now, you can pick what works for you. Right? I like weights. Some folks like cardio. Some like Zumba or Humba or whatever those crazy things are. But the point is, there is a lot of science behind exercise. Exercise gets the blood flowing. Blood is critical for your brain to function correctly. Exercise is great for relieving stress. Exercise is great for a lot of reasons. Now, once again, depending on your condition, always good to check with a doctor. Always good to make sure that you're in good health to do it. But why not, starting today or tomorrow, wake up and exercise and give it a week or two and see how you feel, right? Start making changes. I will tell you right now, if you are not exercising either daily or at least 3 to 5 times a week, you are giving yourself a disadvantage. You are giving yourself an unfair advantage because the body is not in an optimal state. Now, my intent was not to go off on that, but when I go in and I do these Life of a CISO, I spend some time beforehand sort of hashing it out, and then I just let it go, man, right? I listen to where we need to go, and somebody out there might have needed to hear that, so that's where we went today. But now let's get back to world-class CISO. World-class CISOs are thought leaders. They go in, and they are the ones that people look up to, people reference, and people want to talk to. That means you have to share your thoughts with the world. You need to go in and start producing videos. You need to start producing articles. You need to start putting content out there. One of the phrases I love is don't die with your music within you. Every one of us has a song. Now, that song could be an article, it could be video, it can be audio, it can be in a lot of different methods. But you have something the world needs. You have something in cybersecurity that other professionals need to hear. And if you keep it inside you because either you're afraid or you say you're too busy or you come up with other excuses, you ready for this? I'm going to put a twist on this one. You are being very, very selfish because there are people that need that. They're depending on that to be able to accomplish their goals. So imagine we have this timeline where you have person X. In order to change the world, they need to hear from person Y. And in order for person Y to change person X, they need to hear from you. So if you decide to be afraid to not share your music, person Y is never going to hear what they need to hear. Person X is never going to be positively impacted, and you can trace that down. So you owe it to yourself, the community, cybersecurity, and the world to share your message. When was the last time you put out a video on social media? When was the last time you posted an article? When was the last time you put content out there? You need to start. You must start doing that today. And I always love the excuses people come back. They're like, Eric, I don't do social media. I just don't do that. Well, why not? Why don't you? There's a lot of influencers. There's a lot of customers. There's a lot of people that you can help on social media. Why would you make that decision? Right? That's like going in and saying, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm never going to give a press. I mean, it's crazy, right? You got to recognize right or wrong. That's just a limiting belief that's holding you back. And you must put content out there, and you must be on social media. So here's my challenge. Starting tomorrow, I don't care if you're on vacation, do it with your kids, do it with your spouse, right? Wherever you are, if you're listening to this tomorrow, not in a week, not in a month, tomorrow, you will go in and produce 2 pieces of content. And it's real simple. You don't need a studio. You don't need cameras. You don't need lights. You have your device. Whatever device right now you're listening to this on, literally tomorrow, and just schedule it. 8 and 2 or whatever times work for you, and take it out and just go in and start talking. It could be 90 minutes. Sorry, it could be 90 seconds, 90 minutes, a little much. But if you want to do that, go for it, right? You got this, right? But it could be 1 or 2 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. I would say in the beginning, if you want to target, shoot for around 3 to 4 minutes. And just say what's on your mind. What do you feel about cybersecurity? If somebody came up to you and just said, hey, what do you do for a living? And you said, hey, I do cybersecurity. And you're like, hey, what's your thoughts on that subject? I'm new to it. I'd love to hear what your number 1 or number 2 top thoughts are on that matter. And just go. Or if you really, really get stuck, just go in and read an article or listen to a video and just summarize what was on that video. Pick up a book. Pick up Cyber Crisis. Read 3 pages and summarize it, right? But go in and start sharing your message with the world. You're not going to be world-class CISO if you're not a thought leader. And you're not going to be a thought leader if you don't share your content with others. You need to start building a following and building a tribe. And it starts right now. So go in tomorrow, twice a day, and I want you for the rest of the year. So depending on when you're listening to this, this could be a 90-day challenge, a 75-day challenge, a 60-day challenge, right? Depending on whenever you listen to this, starting tomorrow until December 31st, 2021, every day, I want you to go in and create 2 videos. Now, a couple things here. Don't watch your videos. None of us ever like it. So I have people going in, Eric, I created a video and then I watched it and I don't like it and I redid it and it ended up taking 4 hours to get a video out and that's just too much time. Nope. You're not following directions. You are now a one-take wonder. You take out the phone, you talk for 3 or 4 minutes, and whatever it is, in whatever form it is, you post it. Hopefully you noticed when I do my Life of a CISOs, it's one take. I have an idea, I think about it, I spend some time before each recording, but it's one take. I'll sometimes go in and misspeak. You probably hear that. I'll sometimes go in and potentially have a little grammatic fapu or however you say it right there like that. But who cares, right? Don't go for perfection. Go for your message. So one take wonder, 3 minutes, post it, move on with your day. Don't watch it, don't listen to it, move on. So I'm asking for 6 minutes a day, 2 3-minute videos. You can do that. If you're telling me that you do not have 6 minutes a day to focus on you, your career, and being world class, we got to have another conversation. We got to have, like, come on, right? You got this, right? So that's rule 1. Next rule, don't care what people say. I'll tell you right now, when everybody gets started, nobody is good at creating content. They're not perfect. Nobody's born with perfection. So some people get a little upset with me, but they go, Eric, what if my first 15 or 20 videos aren't that good? Okay, let me help you out. Your first 20 or 30 videos are probably going to suck. They're not going to be that good. That's okay, right? Who cares? Be you. Put it out. How do you get better at something? By doing it over and over and over again. And that's how you get better. Go back, and I purposely leave them up there as an example. But you can go back on YouTube, and you can look at 15 years ago at some of my videos. I mean, people show them to me, and I'm laughing. I'm like, oh, my God. I mean, they're awful. But you got to start, right? The better you get, the better you're going to accomplish it. So don't go for perfection. It happens by doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again. So right now, commit that you're going to start exercising every morning, and you're going to do 2 videos a day, short little videos. Commit right now. Raise your hand. I swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? So you're going to do that. That's how you're going to end the world differently. That's how you're going to end the year. Hopefully not end the world. I don't know, based on 2020 and 2021. I don't know what's going on with the world, right? I hope we're going to still be here. So hopefully we're not ending the world. A little slip there, but end the year differently. Because now imagine, let's even say that you're watching this in early November. That's 60 days, approximately. That's 120 videos. You're now going to end the year with 120 pieces of content. That's pretty darn good, right? That's pretty awesome. So don't be the person that puts it off, and ends the year with 0. At least get triple digits of 100 videos out there, and then start looking at what people say. People always go in and say, Eric, what should my message be? Listen to your heart. Right? You know what that purpose is. What is the thing that you like to talk about the most? What's the thing that you do better than anyone else with the least amount of ease? Your message will come out once you start relaxing. You'll start realizing a reoccurring theme. You'll start seeing that over and over and over again. And then that is what you focus on. But here's the other cool part. Look back. 100 videos is pretty good number. Go back and see which ones you're getting the most engagement. Look at which ones get the most comments. Look at which ones get the most feedback. And that is what you want to produce more of. So I do that with my team now, is they're constantly going back recursively every 6 months and saying, okay, over the last 6 months, what content got the most engagement and why? And then we produce more of that. And then we constantly fine-tune it, adjust it, adapt it. And that's how we get better and better and better over time. It's the same thing. There's no magic solution out there where you're going to produce amazing content on day one. And anybody who's trying to take your money to promise you that, run. Do not walk to the nearest exit. It takes time. But build that muscle. Twice a day videos. And then the third thing, if you want to be a world-class CISO, go in and start reaching out to people that are where you want to be. And if you're currently a CISO, do you want to move up? If you're a CISO for a $300 million company, do you want to be a CISO for a Fortune 50 company? Start reaching out to people that are where you want to be and start building a relationship. But Eric, they're not going to respond to me. They're not going to go in and want to associate with me. They're not going to want to help me. How do you know? If you don't try, the answer is no. So you're right. If you sit there and you say, no one's going to help me, no one's going to want to support me, and you make that decision and you don't even try, it's a guarantee no. Now, you might try and get some no's. You might get 5 or 10 or 15 no's. But eventually, somebody is going to respond. And somebody is going to say, sure, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And somebody's going to respond. So your goal is not to get a yes. Because if your goal to build a mentor group or a peer group, and you can do people that are lateral too, it's to build a support group of people that are like-minded and where you want to be, and your goal is to get a yes, the way the human mind works is it doesn't like failure. So after 4 or 5 no's, you're going to be like, I'm not doing this. But what if your goal is to get 500 no's? By the end of the year, I want you to go in and get 500 people not to ignore you. So that means if you send out a request on LinkedIn, that's a great platform. That's what I recommend you use. You send out a request on LinkedIn and they don't hear back. You send another one, you send another one, you send another one. And then maybe after 10 or 12 to that one person, they then say, no, we're not interested. That's a no. Ignoring is not a no. What I tell my sales team and what I tell anyone I coach is if you want to build a relationship with somebody, you keep asking them until they issue a restraining order, right? Well, once they file a restraining order, you probably should back off, right? Because I don't want anyone going to jail, right? But until then, keep going. Now, if they do reply back and say, no, I'm not interested, or I'm too busy, or I can't help you, you probably should back off at that moment. But I tell you, I've had folks that I want to build contacts with that I reached out 14, 15 times and they ignored me. And on the 16th time, they said, hey, Eric, sorry, I've been super busy, but I'd love to connect with you. It happens more often than you would think. So your goal by the end of the year, and that means, depending on when you start, you're probably doing 10 or 15 reach outs and maybe even more a day. But your goal is to get 500 explicit no's. And the reason is this. There's not a lot of guarantees, but I can guarantee that if your goal is 500 explicit no's for getting a mentor, having somebody that you work with and help enhance your career and mindset, you'll probably get yeses before you reach the 500 point. You'll probably get a lot more yeses there. I know some of you heard this, but I love the story, and I have many examples of this, but I love the Richard Branson one. I am currently building multiple companies at the same time. And I talk with a lot of conventional coaches and went to a lot of the different seminars and everything else, and everyone's like, no. You need to build one company at a time. Eric, if you try to do 3 or 4, you're going to diversify your focus and energy. It's not going to be where you need to be. It's just not going to happen. You're doing it wrong. You need to focus in on one. Well, I don't want to focus on one. I have a big vision and a big appetite, and I want to do multiple. So I researched and realized that Richard Branson has built multiple billion-dollar companies simultaneously. And I think he holds a lot of records on that front. So I went and found some contacts for Richard Branson, and I reached out to him. And I said, hey, Sir Richard, I'm sure you're super busy, but I have a quick question for you. I'm in the cybersecurity space, and I would like to build multiple companies simultaneously. Everyone is telling me that I shouldn't do it. But I know that you did it, and I did read all your books. I love the phrase boom, boom, boom. But I have one question that I didn't see answered. How do you go in and prioritize time and revenue when you're building multiple streams? For example, do you have one cash cow that feeds the others, or how do you actually put all of them into an ecosystem? And sent the email. It wasn't that long. It was very well thought out, but notice, I asked him a very specific question. I showed him I did my homework. I showed that I read what's out there already, and I sent it out. I then didn't hear anything. So I think I sent 2 or 3 times just saying, hey, just make sure you got this. And about 10 days later, I get an email. I'm free for the next 45 minutes. What's your phone number? I'll call you, Richard. I'm looking around like, am I being punked? Right? Is there some punk going on here? What's going on here? And I write back with my phone number. And 3 minutes later, the phone rings. And I pick up, and it sure sounds like him, right, based on the interviews and everything else. He's like, hey, Eric, thank you so much. That was a great question you asked. And we proceed, he goes, but let's jump into it. And we proceed to, for about 15 minutes, him really answering my question and giving me some great information. And then at the end, I said, listen, I know your time's super valuable, but I just have to ask, why did you reply back to me? He goes, Eric, it's simple. All successful people like to help others. I had people that helped me along the way, and I love to help others. He goes, you had a very good question. It was well thought out. It was well researched, and you did your homework, and you didn't waste my time. He goes, would you guess how many good emails I get? He goes, I get hundreds and thousands of emails that get weeded out by my team of things like, will you adopt me? Can I name my child after you? Will you give me $1 million? He goes, stupid stuff. He goes, I'm never going to see that. But my team knows that if somebody actually goes in and has read my books and material and asks good, solid questions, they will pass those on to me. And would you believe that I get maybe 1 or 2 of those every month? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, think about it. People are afraid, right? People do not think I'm going to respond to them. So it's only the stupid, crazy people, right, that ask me the stupid, crazy stuff that I don't respond to. He goes, but very few people like you are actually bold enough to actually ask. Now, I'm not saying that Richard Branson's going to reply to everybody and that you should reach out to him. But what I'm saying is people are more willing to help you than you realize if you change your mindset. If you go in saying, hey, people help them along the way, they'll help me, I'll help others, and you have that mindset and you're willing to get 500 no's, that could change everything. So as you're listening to this, 3 things I want you to look at as you go through the last quarter of this year. 1, look at some exercise. Talk to your doctor, start exercising, because that changes your body, your blood flow, your mindset, and how you think. 2nd, 2 videos a day. 2 videos a day. Don't watch them. Don't care about them. Get the content out. Build the muscle. And then 3rd, I want you to focus on building a group of people that are where you're at or where you want to be that you can use for mentoring, referencing, and others. And I want your goal to get 500 explicit no's. Now, there's not a lot of guarantees in life, but I can guarantee you do those 3 things. And when January 1, 2022 rolls around, you're going to be a different person and a different mindset. And you're going to be so happy that you took and made the decision to change. So let's focus in on not being average. Average people are going to ignore what I say. Average people are going to end the year the exact same way they started it, but you're not average. You're world class. So make a decision right now and tomorrow. Start producing content, reaching out, and changing your life.